Hi everyone, I'm Sanjana and I have Nick Bennett with me today. Nick, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure, Nick. And to introduce Nick, Nick is the Director of Account-Based Marketing and Field Marketing at Alyce, and he's the host of a podcast called Rep Your Brand. And if you've been following Nick on LinkedIn, you know how much he cares about personal branding. And today he's here to share his personal branding journey with us, and how he started his personal branding journey and how he ended up here and so many other things. So, Nick, shall we get started?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So let's start with your journey so far. Like, could you give us a recap from where you started and where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually started taking LinkedIn serious in March of 2020. It was something that was at the time I was working for a company, and my boss basically was like, hey, you should be posting more on LinkedIn and building your brand, is something that he did incredibly well. And I was like, you know what? Might as well. We're in COVID lockdown world at the time, and there was really nothing better to do. So I was like, oh, I love new
Yeah,
hobbies. And so I just started posting every single day. And, that was March of 2020. And I just kind of never looked back. And we're in, almost October now.
yeah,
And it's been a year and a half, but it's been a lot of fun. And the growth has been tremendous. I've met so many amazing people like yourself and others that have,
yeah.
just connected, and we've been able to have some really interesting conversations around. And it's just opened a lot of doors that probably wouldn't have been there if I wasn't active.
Yeah, that's great. And like, what made you post content on LinkedIn like consistently? I know that I see your post every day. Whenever I open my LinkedIn, I see your post there. So like, how do you do this?
It's not easy, to be honest with you. It's like, for me, I went down the path originally of talking about field marketing, because out of
Yeah,
750 million plus users on LinkedIn, no one talked about it. And it's pretty much in every B2B company that's out there's field marketers. And so there was a lot to be desired about what is field marketing. And so I kind of took that path for a little while. And then once I started to have kind of an audience that would follow me on a regular basis, I started to branch out into, personal branding, like like my journey, like this is what I did. But it's not easy. But to be honest with you, I don't overthink it. I spend 5 minutes writing whatever I want to talk about in the morning. And it's typically, usually I'll think about it when I'm in the shower, and then I'll try to remember it by the time I get to my computer or my phone. And half the time I forget about it. But it's just something, like, I'm not the type of person that schedules out stuff
oh,
or that
okay.
takes lots of notes or anything. Everything that I think of every single day is just like top of mind. Like, I don't script anything.
Awesome, awesome. And what made you build a brand for yourself, or like what made you become a creator? Like, was there a light bulb moment for you?
It was, I honestly, I think it was just because no one was talking about field marketing. And I didn't,
Yeah,
honestly, for me, it was something where I was going to do it for a little bit. And then, like, if nothing happened, I was just going to kind of like stop and probably go back to just scrolling every single day. But when I saw the power of kind of what happened and like what came with it, like being able to start podcasts, being able to get offered jobs, consulting opportunities, being able
yeah,
to get in contact with CMOs and VPs of marketing that I probably would never be able to have conversations with. It was, I mean, to be honest, it was like, it's like a dopamine hit. It's like it hits you, and it's like you really, like, you thrive on the adrenaline of, like, what's going to come of this, what's going to come of this next. And it's just kind of come, everyone talks about the decrease of engagement and like
yeah.
reach on LinkedIn. And for me, it's the same. Mine has dropped, but I'm at a point where I have a regular crowd that kind of comes back every single day.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother me as much. And the people that want to read it, great, interact with it. And the people that don't see it, maybe they'll see it at some other point.
And do you make sure that you reach out to at least like 5, 10 people every day on LinkedIn and make sure that you have a conversation with them? Do you do that by
So
any chance?
yeah, so I did when I first got started, and once I hit about probably a year in of like doing this every single day, like now I don't like I'll scroll and like I'll try to like add value to like I'll add a comment to a few people,
Yeah,
but it's more of me just trying to keep up with like my own stuff as well, and like all of the messages that come with it. And I try to reply to every single direct message that comes into my inbox. Same for comments on my post. Like I reply to every
yeah,
single one of them. And so
yeah.
that takes away the ability to, scroll on a regular basis and see kind of like what else is out there. But I have probably a circle of like 20 people that like I keep an eye on of like the content that they put out
Oh,
there every single day.
okay. And how do you initiate a conversation with them? Like when you started out, how did you initiate conversations with people on LinkedIn messaging, not
Yeah,
comments?
honest. Yeah, so I never. So what I did first was if there was someone like take Justin Welsh for example, like
Yeah.
commenting on his posts every single day, and if you can get up there at like one of like the top posts, so it's something that he sees every single day, and it's
Mhm.
something that adds value to the conversation, not just like an I agree or an emoji or
Got
something
it.
like that. You start to get noticed. One, you drive more people back to your own page because they see the type of thing that you're talking about, so it's a great way to
Okay.
start to like build your audience. But then you start to get noticed by these content creators, and then after a while, like I was doing that for probably about 5 months before I sent him a LinkedIn message. And I was just like, hey, it was actually because I wanted to invite him onto my podcast. And he got back to me immediately. It was like, absolutely, let's do it. And so just making sure that you stay top of mind is important.
If you remember, I'm not sure if you remember, I we used to exchange a lot of comments on your post. And after like 2, 3 weeks, I reached out to you asking if you'd be willing to come on a podcast last year. So, I think this is a great sales tip as well. I think all sales reps should take a note of this. Like without building a relationship first, you can't reach out to them and ask them for a favor, right? Which is totally wrong. So I think this is a great sales tip as well.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like people buy from people at the end of the day. And so like I'll be honest with you, any person that like, and it's mostly sales reps that will like send me a connection request, and I used to just accept all of them, and then I would immediately get pitched their service or whatever, and I would remove them as a
Yeah.
connection. Now I'm a lot more strategic about it, where like if someone sends me a connection request, I don't just accept it automatically. Like I check out like their profile, like make sure that they're not just going to kind of like come and pitch me. And then sometimes what I'll do, if I know it's like a sales rep, I'll say like, hey, happy to connect. If you pitch me, I'm going to immediately remove you as a connection, just to kind of like set that set that ground framework so that they know not to do that. And it's been really helpful. It's cut down on all that spam.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. And what was your followers count when you started out, and what is it now? How has
Yeah.
that
So when
grown?
I Yeah, so when I started in March of 2020, it was about 2,000 followers. And so I'm at like right now, I believe like 23,300 or something like that. And so in a year and a half, it's grown, almost a ridiculous amount. And
Yeah.
but it's slowed down more recently. I would say for the first year or even like 10 months, it was going up. Like it went from like 2,000 to 10,000 to 20,000, like all within like a year, or shortly over a year. And now it's kind of, I don't want to say it's plateaued. And I mean, I get there's probably like 20 to 40 people that follow me like a day, like additional people, but it's not like what it used to be. And it's okay. I'm fine with the steady growth over time.
Awesome. And what is the end goal of being a creator? Like we consistently keep creating content every day. where does that stop? Like, does that stop somewhere?
Yeah, I don't actually have an end goal. I never even had a start goal, to be honest with you. Like for me, it's like I have nothing to sell. I'm not monetizing anything that I put out there. Everything that I do is free. And so for me, like it's just a side hustle. Like I enjoy
Yeah.
writing content and interacting with people to hopefully level everyone else up. And that's, I'm going to continue to do that until it burns me out or that like it's just not interesting to me anymore. But I mean, there has been opportunities that have come from it where, I've been able to be offered like consulting gigs. There's things that like, I could additionally pick up on the side or monetize different pieces. Like I've had, companies reach out to me saying, hey, we want to pay you if you'll write posts on our behalf. And so, I mean, I've turned down everything just because I'm way too busy with my regular job. And like, I don't want to water down the content that I put out there. Currently, who knows what like 2-3 years down the road might be, but like for now, I'm just going to continue doing me and see what comes from it.
All right, all right. And should we just stick to LinkedIn or should we also expand to other social platforms? What is your take on that?
Yeah, so I maybe about like 6 months ago, I tried to get active on Twitter as well. And so
Yeah, I know.
it's I mean it's a different ball game over there. And like for me, I have like 1,600 followers on Twitter. It's nothing. And I've really stopped putting posts out there on like a regular basis on Twitter. It's just I'll typically retweet stuff and like I'll throw out stuff like once or twice a week. Nothing crazy, but I've kind of put all of my effort into LinkedIn. And then outside
Yeah.
of Twitter, there's really nothing else. Like I'm on Instagram, but like for just personal reasons. Like I don't put anything out there. And I don't use Facebook anymore. So I would say LinkedIn and Twitter are probably the top two.
Do you recommend sticking to just one social platform or is it best to expand?
Who, you know, accomplish what you want to accomplish on one platform before moving to another. You can't be everything to everyone. And so
Yeah,
like being able to try to manage all these different platforms that are out there, like when Clubhouse was a thing, like people were trying to jump over there and it was like, I spent a lot of time there. I deleted the app like 7 months ago. And so it's
same
I
here.
mean, it went downhill quick. But yeah, I mean, for me, like, and a lot of people I've talked to, you know, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter, those seem to be like the two big things. You're going to
Yeah,
kind of start out on one of those journeys and like start to build your brand. And then some people will make the jump to the other. And then some people will just kind of like stay in their lane. And it really, I think it depends on like the type of person that you are and like what your end goal is.
okay, okay, got it. And sometimes, I feel demotivated that why am I doing this? I'm just posting content every day, but like my content are valuable that I know. But sometimes I just feel demotivated, why am I doing this? So what should I tell to myself in those scenarios? And have you felt this?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been there as well. I've taken way more breaks this year from like posting content. Like whenever there's holidays, like I don't post. Like weekends now, I barely post on the weekends. I used to
Yeah,
post like 7 days a week. And so like if you feel demotivated from like it's just like you feel like you're running against like a in quicksand or something and it's not doing anything for you, like take a break, it's okay. Like it's you're going to be able to come back and like just pick up where you left off, but sometimes it's best to like clear your mind, like not worry about what am I going to write, like what are people going to think, like are we going to get engagement or not, like is LinkedIn going to change their algorithm again, all
yeah,
those things. And like for me now it's like
I
I
don't
feel like
care.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in so deep that it's hard
Okay.
to like turn back, but I am not afraid to take breaks. Like once like Christmas and like Thanksgiving come around, like
Yeah.
I plan on taking like a couple weeks off from like posting, if anything, like spend time with my family, like things like that. Like before, I would just try to like barrel through and like just keep on doing it. But I've realized now the world's still going to go around whether I post content on LinkedIn or not. And I think it's important to know that.
Okay. And after you come from the break, do you see the engagement go up or go down? Or is it the same?
Uh, it's really the same for me. I mean, within the last month, everything has gone down for me. Engagement, views, reach, like all of
Yeah,
that has
I
kind
agree.
of like gone down. Yeah. And so, I mean, now I'm just like, meh, whatever. Like, I'm just going to post what I want to post. And if people show up, like, awesome. And if not, like, it just gives me another reason to take longer breaks.
Okay, okay, got it. And like, when should creators start monetizing? By leveraging their brand and experience, or
Yeah,
should we stay away from monetizing at all?
I mean, I think it definitely depends on like what you want to do. Like the people that I feel like that monetize, like a lot of people will do it as like a side hustle. And I mean, you don't have to. You could have 3,000 followers. You could have 50,000 followers. I don't think it matters. I think it's determining like what you want to do from a monetization standpoint. Like, do you want to create a course? Like, do you want to create like an ebook or a guide that tells people like, hey, like this is my LinkedIn success journey, like download it. Like Justin Welsh has a bunch of courses, they're awesome. And so like he monetizes it really well, and then you've got like other people that have 30, 40, 50,000 followers. Like take Chris Walker for example. I mean, yeah, he
Yeah,
monetizes it because he's the CEO of his business, but in reality he's not out there like pitching courses or anything
yeah,
like that. But he still continues to grow because of the content that he puts out there.
makes sense. And what type of content works well on LinkedIn? Is it text or video, image?
Yeah, so for me, video is terrible lately. It used to be really good, but for me,
Yeah,
it's more like just the text posts that do really, really well. And then the text posts, or I mean, you could do it with video as well, that tells stories about specific things that you're working on, whether it's successes, failures, things that you've learned, so that you can hopefully help other people set up for success or to avoid what you went through. And I feel like those are the best types of stories that I enjoy reading. Like, hey, I was doing a project on how to launch ABM, and like these were the 5 things that I learned while launching this in the B2B space. Like something like that, I would love reading about. Where if it was like, hey, I'm going to tell you how to grow your like Instagram following by 500,000 people. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I'm just going to scroll right past it. So I think telling stories of like what you're working on every single day, especially as like marketers, is incredibly impactful.
all right. And do you recommend writing a short post or a lengthy post, or does that matter at all?
So I usually keep it pretty short, but you have to write choppy copy. Like, and what I mean by
Yeah,
that is like you don't put it in paragraph format. We've always been taught to write in paragraph format, but like
yeah,
you need to break it up, because when people are scrolling on their phone or their computer, like that first line or two is what's going to hook someone in. And then so you want to keep it so that the flow is easy, so that it doesn't hurt their eyes, and that they don't like, oh, this is just too bunched together, I'm not going to read it. So I try
okay,
to keep it choppy copy and short.
okay. Got it. And you were telling us about the opportunities that LinkedIn has given you. Like, what types of doors has it opened up for you? And can you share about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been able to start two podcasts that I have a company that does them for me, Motion, and so I'm fortunate that they are doing it all pro bono for me, and it's not cheap. Like they do all the production work, they do everything for
Yeah.
me, and so having two shows with them is really nice. I've been able to get jobs. I've
And
been able to.
you're the host of both the podcasts?
I am, yeah. So Rep Your Brand is mine alone, and then I also have a new one called Real ABM, which I'm co-hosting with. His name is Pete Larenko, and so it's basically stories for people that are looking to explore ABM strategies. And so we've now got like those two shows that are under that, and then
Okay.
consulting opportunities, just networking. It's like I said, I've got people
Speaking at
contact.
events.
Speaking at events. I feel like September's been kind of crazy. I've already spoken at like 4 or 5 events this month, and I have a
That's
couple
great.
more coming up. Yeah, it's good, and it's just like being able to get out there. And so like when people think of like, hey, like who should be the person to talk about field marketing or ABM, like I always want to be included in those conversations.
Okay. And do you think introverts can be good at public speaking?
Yeah, I think so. I'm an introvert, to be honest with you. I don't
Yeah,
like
me too.
as much as I try not to like I try to work on myself every day because like to be honest with you, I hate talking to people. Like I would much
Me
rather
too.
I would much
Yeah,
and I
me
hate
too.
video. Like I hate looking at
Same here.
myself. And so like I've been trying to push myself outside of my comfort zone to do more speaking on camera, do more speaking in person, like getting together with people and networking. So I'm not stuck behind a computer, looking at a screen all day and just typing stuff. And if you push yourself out of your comfort zone, some really cool things can happen. But I get, there's still like I'm not a great public speaker, and there's things that I still struggle with every single day, but I try to work to overcome those things on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'm an introvert, and that is why I started this YouTube channel, because I can speak to people, learn to speak to learn to speak with people. That's where I struggle the most, communication. So I want to improve that. That's the reason why I started this channel, so I can get to work on myself. That's great to
um,
hear from you.
that's awesome. See, but at least you're taking that step to work on yourself. A lot of people just don't take that opportunity to work on themselves, and you're going above and beyond and doing that, and so it's only going to help you and everyone else that tries to do something like that in the long run.
Thanks, Nick. All right. So my last question is, like, what's your future plan? Like, where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Like, what is cooking with Nick Bennett?
Yeah, yeah. To be honest with you, I haven't even thought that far in advance yet. Like I'm just kind of taking it day by day. I'm doing my regular role, heading up ABM in field marketing, and I'm kind of taking on like a community aspect of that as well. So like my regular role takes up a lot of my time, and then outside of that, focusing on just like my family, and I play baseball still, and just trying to stay active outside of that. And then I'm just going to kind of continue to post on LinkedIn. Like I have thought about like, hey, it would be really cool to create a course on field
Yeah,
marketing and ABM.
yeah,
And then I'm just like it's so much harder when you have a regular job and you're trying to fit this stuff in on the side. Who knows, 3 years down the road, maybe I go down like the consulting path, because I feel like I could have enough where a lot of early stage companies do have field marketing or like demand gen type questions that like I feel like I could help with. But it's something where who knows if I'll ever be able to make that leap.
awesome. That's great to know. All right. So, Nick, before we wrap it up, let's do a quick rapid fire. So, I'll ask you a series of questions, and you have to give me answers from the top of your mind.
Cool.
All right. Who do you follow the most on LinkedIn?
I would probably say Chris Walker. The team at Refine Labs is someone's like the whole team, you know, MJ, Sam, like all of them, Chris, like they all post like really good content. And so I really
Yeah,
enjoy all of that.
awesome. So what's your favorite book or podcast?
So I don't really read many books, to be honest with you, but I would say my favorite podcast is State of Demand Gen from Refine Labs as well. They always have incredible guests, and the content's always really good.
Yeah, I agree. And my last question for you is, let's say hypothetically you're getting your career started. So what would you tell to yourself?
Just get active. Just put yourself out there as early as you can and talk about your own experiences. You have to start somewhere, or else you're never going to start.
That's great advice, Nick. Thank you so much for doing this conversation with me. I absolutely loved your energy and enthusiasm throughout the conversation. I'll give your LinkedIn profile in the description, and also both of your podcast link in the description so people can check them out and connect with you later. It was nice talking to you, Nick. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.